In this video, I'm going to show how to find the explicit function for an arithmetic sequence and a recursive function for an arithmetic sequence. The sequence we're given is 1, 4, 7, and 10. We need to know what our terms are. So we denote terms using A since we're talking about an arithmetic sequence, A for arithmetic. So our first term, A1, is 1. Our second term, A2, is 4. Our third term, A3, is 7. And our fourth term is A4, which is 10. Now, we need to find our common difference. Common difference. To figure that out, we work with each successive terms. So we start with 4 minus 1. We know that's 3. In other words, 1 plus 3 is 4. 7 minus 4, that's also 3. So we know 4 plus 3 is 7. And then similarly, 7 plus 3 is 10. So my common difference is 3. I'm going to use yellow for my first term and green for my common difference. Yellow for first term, green for the common difference. And we use D for the letter D for common difference. I'll write that out. D equals 3. Okay, so we've identified my first term and my common difference. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to find an explicit function for the sequence. Oops. Eraser, let's get that eraser. Okay, so for part A, it's asking for an explicit function. So it's always in the form a n equals a1 plus n minus 1 d. So again, I'm going to use yellow for the first term and D for my common difference. I'll highlight the A1 term in yellow. And I'll highlight my common difference in green. So now I just have to plug in. So we say an equals 1 plus n minus 1, and my common difference is 3. And this is my explicit formula. Explicit formula. And let me grab my highlighter. There's my first term, and here is my common difference, 3. And that's the explicit formula. Now to do the recursive formula, it's in the form A1. You find the A1 term, you write it in the form an equals an minus 1 plus d. Again, I'm going to highlight the A1 term in yellow and the D term in green for the common difference. So now all I have to do is just write in my formula. So we say A1 we know is 1, and then an equals an minus 1 plus 3. My highlighter, my A1 term is in yellow. My common difference will be in green. And this is what we call an explicit formula, or sorry, recursive formula. Recursive formula. We'll do one more example like that. Let's look at, instead of doing number one, let's do number two. It's a little bit easier to work with. Okay, so first we know that here's my A1 term, A2, A3, and A4. So my first term looks like it is 100, so we'll highlight that in yellow to be consistent. Now, we need to find my D, or my common difference. If I subtract 107 minus 100, we know that's 7. So it appears like I'm adding 7. So 100 plus 7 is 107. 107 plus 7 is 114. 114 plus 7 is 121. So we know it's an arithmetic sequence because I'm adding a common number. Now we're being asked to find an explicit formula and a recursive formula. So let's highlight that common difference D, which is 7. So for part B, it's asking for the explicit formula. Recall from the last slide, it was just A n. My first term would be 100 plus n minus 1, and the 7 goes on the outside. Again, I'm going to highlight the first term in yellow and the common difference in green. Now for part B, or sorry, part C, it's asking for an explicit formula. So that would be just A1 equals 100, and then AN equals AN minus 1 plus the common difference, which is 7. And let me highlight this, and we are done. And the common first term is highlighted in yellow, and the common difference in green. So that's another example how to write an explicit formula and a recursive function given a list of terms in a sequence. On our next slide, we're being asked to find the sixth term. This one's a little bit easier than finding a term such as the 20th or the 100th term. In this example, all we have to do is figure out what our pattern is. So in our previous examples, we were adding. In this problem, we have a decreasing sequence. So we get from 2 to -1 to -4 to -7 to -10. So this is my first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and fifth term. We're being asked to find the sixth term, or A6. The most important thing is to find the common difference. So if we do 2 minus 3, that's -1. -1 minus 3 will be -4. -4 minus 3 will be -7, and -7 minus 3 will be -10. To find my sixth term, all we have to do is take my fifth term, which is A5 minus 3. In this situation, it is -10 minus 3. So my A6 is -10 minus 3, which is -13. And we found our sixth term, and we are done. The 20th term of a sequence. This one's not as easy as the last one because we're given a formula, but it is easier than finding it using an recursive formula. So to find the 20th term, all we have to do is plug in 20 in for I. So we're going to say A20 equals, let's make that a better 0. A20 equals 4 plus 3, parentheses, 20 plus 1. From here on out, all we have to do is simplify to figure out what the 20th term is. So copy down the 4 plus 3. 20 plus 1 is 21. 3 times 21 is 63. Plus 4, and that's equal to 67. So A20, or my 20th term, is 67, and we are done. Find the fifth A5 or the fifth term of the following sequence. In the last problem, we had a formula. In this problem, we don't have a formula. All we know is the first term of the sequence. So what we have to do is find each term leading up to the fifth term. So we're going to start with A1. We know that's -7. I'm going to find this A n minus 1 to mean previous term. Previous term. So to find A2, we're going to use A1 minus 1. We're using this part of the formula now. So that's the same thing as saying -7 minus 1, which is -8. Now, A3 is the same thing as saying A2 minus 1, which we know from the previous line is -8 minus 1, which gives me -9. A4, that's the same thing as saying A3, which is our previous term, minus 1, which we know is -9 minus 1, which that gives me -10. One more and we have our fifth term, which the problem is asking for. So A5 equals the previous term, which is A4 minus 1, which is the same thing as saying -10 minus 1. And that gives me -11. And so my A5 is -11, and we're done. That covers some examples from Khan Academy. Hopefully that should help you complete your assignment on Khan Academy. For your quiz, you're being asked to work with 2 applets. The first applet looks like this. This is your first question on your quiz for the week. So the problem's asking us to first change the equation to 2x. For our example here, we're going to use ax equals x. And if you hit enter, it changes the function for you. So the first question in the quiz says, find the first 5 terms of the sequence. So we'll handle that now. So we'll say A1 equals, it's given to us, 1. A2 equals 2. A3 equals 3. And by noticing, we look like we're counting by 1, so we can say A3 4 equals 4, and A5 equals 5, and that's the first 5 terms of the sequence. For part B, it's asking for my common difference. So we notice we're just adding 1, so that'd be plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, and plus 1, and that's my common difference. So for part B, we say D equals 1. Part C, it's asking for a recursive formula. Let me grab the highlighter. We'll highlight the first term, A1, in yellow, and the common difference, D, and I want to highlight in green. So we say A1 equals 1, and AN equals AN minus 1 plus 1. And again, I'm going to use my highlighter so you know that yellow is my first term and D is my common difference, which I want to highlight in green. We'll extend the page a little bit. Part D. Just going to ask you to find an explicit formula for the function. So recall, it's just going to be AN equals my common difference, which is, first term, which is going to be 1 plus n minus 1 times 1. And we have our explicit formula. I'm going to highlight the first term in yellow and the second common difference in green. And then in part E, it's asking us to use recursive or explicit formula for the 100th term. In our previous video, in the previous section of the video, we showed where we could find the 20th term using the explicit formula. If we try to use the recursive formula, the problem will be a lot more challenging than it needs to be. So we're just going to use this explicit formula. So we'll plug in 100 for n. So A100 equals 1 plus n minus 1, 100 100 minus 1 and plug in the 1. So we're plugging in this 100. So the only thing we have left to do is just simplify. So we have 1 plus 100 minus 1 will be 99. And then plug in the 1. Simplify one more step. 99 times 1 is 99 plus 1. So my A100 is just simply 1 plus 99, which is 100, which is what we would expect since we are counting by ones. And we're done that. We're completely done this problem. The last applet on the quiz is asking us to move the slider and change A1 to -5. So we're going to make our A, so I'm not doing the same exact problem you are. I'm going to make my A1 to be 3. And I'll make my D to be 2. Okay, it's asking us for the first 5 terms of the sequence for question 1. So what's nice about this problem, it's already given to us. We can read it right from the applet. So we know A1 equals 3, A2, which is 5, A3, which is also given to us, equals 7, A4, which is given to us as 9, and then A5, which is also given to us, is 11. For part B, it wants the recursive formula. So recall, it's just my A1, which in this case is 3. Let me write A n equals A n minus 1 plus 2. And there's my recursive formula for part B. Now for part C. This asks us to find the explicit rule and find the 20th term. So the explicit rule will be just in the form A n equals 3 plus n minus 1 times 2. That's my explicit formula. Last step is just to find the 20th term. So that means just plug in 20. So A20 equals 3 plus 20 minus 1 times 2. So we say 3 plus 20 minus 1 will be 19. We're simplifying here. Times 2. 19 times 2 would be 38. And 3 plus 38 would be 41. So A20 equals 41. And I hope that answers most of your questions for the quiz and your assignments for this week. Good luck, and be sure to email me if you have any questions.